We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon.
Entertainer, entrepreneur, email marketing master, David Kamatoy, the most talented Filipino comic juggler, rock star, radio personality, hitman you're ever going to meet. Okay, he's not a rock star. Say hello to my little friend, David Kamatoy. Ready?
Hey everybody, once again, welcome back to the show. This is David Kamatoy, coming to you live on Ustream.tv and also davidkamatoy.com. Today on the show, we've had, check us out at Ustream.tv or davidkamatoy.com, because today we had NBC Chuck star Mark Christopher Lawrence on the show, a regular. Also, Emmy Award-winning stunt coordinator for the same show, Merritt Yonka, joined us. And also Warren Lanier talked about affiliate marketing. Once again on the show, we talk about entertainment entrepreneurship and, of course, internet marketing. You can find all of our stuff online at davidkamatoy.com and also subscribe on Twitter, etc., etc. But joining us is David M. Parrish, COO of Aqua One Technologies, with the product H2orb. It's a water-saving device specifically for toilets. Joining us on the show right now. David, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, good evening, David. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. What I want to do is we're going to talk in this segment about what the H2orb is. At the end of the segment, at the end of the show, I'm going to share the video and put it online so people can see it if they grab this specific recording of it. But first of all, talk to us in your own words about the product. What is the H2orb?
The H2orb is an electronic valve that eliminates overflows in your toilet, and it also monitors the condition of the toilet. So there's a sensor inside the tank, and it'll pick up anything that wastes water. Whether you've got a stuck open flapper, a leaky fill valve, leaky flapper, I'm even up to a busted hose. It'll stop the flow of water and stop you from losing money and protect your property.
That's fantastic. And I think one of the, and again, watch the video. You can find it online if you go to vidler.com/Aqua One, or of course Kamatoy Media, or on our YouTube account at The Juggler. It's all posted there, and you can see the product, and I think it might make a little bit more sense. But let's talk about the problem. Let's first talk about the problem. The problem is it's a silent problem. Is that there are, number one is that toilets overflow. Now, if it's your own house, your own home, and you have an overflowing toilet, we've all had that problem, and we've had to clean up the mess. That's like probably on a scale, even though that's the attractor to this product, that's not really the biggest problem. Is when something like that happens and no one's around, right? I mean, that's really the big problem. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's true. Most of the time, the big damage happens because we flush the toilet and it clogs up. And how many of us stand around and watch while the toilet overflows? We flush the toilet and we walk away. And it's the last thing you do when you leave for work in the morning. You flush the toilet. And the last thing you do when you leave on vacation, everybody goes to the bathroom and you flush the toilet. Nobody stands there and waits for it to fill up. And the problem is, every one of us in the past month probably has had to jiggle that little handle to get the toilet to stop flushing. So it's a small mechanical device. The flappers get stuck open or with big leaks all the time, and we just kind of take it for granted that everything's going to work right. Well, when it doesn't work right, it fails in a big way, and it's tremendous amounts of damage that can be caused.
Absolutely. And the thing about it from our perspective is that to me the application becomes commercial and industrial. It's one thing you have one leaking toilet, but if you own a condo or a complex or a college and you've got a leaking toilet that's unattended, either on a semester break or because it's somebody's apartment that's shut down, and suddenly you've got floors and floors of damage, and that's the real issue, right?
Yeah, and even more so, a lot of people live in the apartment complex and the condos. They don't pay for their own water. It's all part of the association or the association fees, or you pay your rent and you don't get a separate water bill. So we really don't pay a whole lot of attention to the amount of water we use. But the facility manager, they just watch their water bills going up and up and up, and all they can do is kind of throw darts and say, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And since we don't know that the water bill's going up, we don't pay attention to it, and it costs a tremendous amount of money to the apartment and condo owners, business owners.
So the number one thing is it stops overflows, but two, it stops leaks. Now, how does it exactly stop leaks? Because I think a lot of people out there, again, we're trying to put a picture to something in words of how effective this product is, but let's talk about that for just a second.
Sure. The orb looks kind of like a duck egg. So if you can imagine a duck egg that connects directly to the water valve to the toilet. And to that duck egg, which is an electronic sensor, and it's also a valve. It's an on and off shut-off valve, just an extension of your existing valve. And it has two sensors that attach to it. One sensor is in the bowl, obviously for the bowl overflows, and the other sensor is inside the tank. Well, the tank level changes when you flush it, or when you get leaks, or when you flush it and it doesn't close and the water keeps running out. It's all based on time and the position of the sensor. There's a level float, basically a foam float that goes up and down when you flush the toilet. And it knows that there's supposed to be a water line, and your tank level always fills to the same spot. So when you flush it, it leaves from that spot, and the water goes out, and the float goes to the bottom, and it recognizes a flush. Well, if it doesn't start to fill up in a few minutes, it recognizes the fact that, well, the flapper must be stuck open. So it sends a signal to the H2orb, and it shuts off the valve, so you don't get that continuous water waste. Well, the same thing for the small leaks, and that's where your big problem happens. We've all heard in the middle of the night the small little sh-sh as the little sound as the tank begins to fill up. And we kind of ignore it until it gets really, really, really bad. Well, what happens is those small leaks can waste up to 500 gallons of water every single day. And that's the ones we don't even really pay any attention to. And it gets bigger and bigger from that. A stuck-open flapper, for example, that can waste you up to 6,000 gallons of water every single day. So it's not just a small problem, it's a big problem. And you've got an apartment complex or a condo or a business, and you've got a couple hundred toilets. Well, those toilets, eventually the mechanicals in them are going to fail. And it's not because they're bad parts. It's because of the chemicals in the water. They cause a little buildup. And that hole that goes between your flapper and the hole, it just gets bigger and bigger. The amount of water you leave, the amount of water that you waste just gets to be more and more and more. And a lot of times it's a slow, gradual creep up, so you don't even realize if it's your own individual water bill. You don't think, oh, this is a big problem. It's like, well, my water bill's going up a little bit, and it probably should. So it's a lot bigger problem than most people realize.
Well, what's amazing to me, one of the stats that's on the video that's being played in the picture-in-picture online, is that in the video you say that 5% of all fresh water, or drinking water, which is which basically goes in our toilet, 5% is really lost, not to is being lost to leaky toilets. That's right?
Oh, absolutely. There was a study done by Purdue University, and then they came up with a 5%. And really, that just mimicked the studies that have been done by the EPA, the American Water Works Association, the United States Navy. 20% of the toilets in this country leak. And that's not facts that we just kind of figured out on our own. We got those studies from government agencies and municipalities. And based on the U.S. census of 1.2 billion toilets in this country, you just estimate, just sort of put the numbers together, and 5% of all of our drinking water is wasted just because of toilet leaks. Because we don't recycle that water. It goes into the sewage system. We have to treat it. So not only are you wasting water, you're wasting energy. You're wasting the energy to pump the water into your home, then you're wasting the energy to treat it.
Now, here's the kind of odd thing to me, is that when we started trying to figure out, how to put this video together in the project, but to me, I look at it like every one of us has several computers sitting on our desks, most likely. It's like we've got a laptop, we've got a cell phone, you name it, and it's here. And to me, it's in the microwave. It's on most devices. It's in our cars. And I just think it's odd that the toilet in its basic design really hasn't changed in over 100 years. It's still basically a flapper, which is a piece of rubber that that allows that tank to open up and then the toilet flushes. But inherently, the problem is that those damn things leak. Right? I mean, that's the comedy of it, is that no one's bothered to change the device, and yet they're flawed.
You're absolutely right, and it's not because anybody makes them poorly. It's just that there really isn't a whole lot of better ways to do a toilet. But if we just pay a little bit more attention to what's going on, you can replace your flapper for a couple of bucks. You go to Home Depot or your H2orb, and any hardware store, any place that sells plumbing supplies, and you can pick up a replacement flapper for about $5, and it takes 30 seconds to change it. But instead, we sit back and we listen to it, and that leak all the time, and until it gets really to be a nuisance, we don't do anything about it. And it's just we're just a little complacent about it because we don't realize the problem. So
and what I'm trying to get to is that the odd thing about this, the H2orb actually basically connects, makes your toilet a smart device, as smart as your phone, as smart as your voicemail, your answering machine, all these things that we naturally take for granted of having something that has a really solid piece of technology behind it. It does it. It connects it to your toilet and basically saves you money, saves you water, and eventually can prevent damage, especially if you have an overflowing toilet in an unattended area. And I just think I think that this thing is going to do very well. Obviously, you guys are focusing on the commercial market first. And let's talk about that for a second. Who is the ideal client for the H2orb?
Well, our target market really is senior and assisted living and university housing. Senior living first. It's because of the overflow for senior living. The seniors, as they get older, the dementia sets in, and everything goes in the toilet. The toilet becomes a storage space, and it doesn't matter what it is. They'll fold up blankets very nice and neatly and lift it up and put it in the toilet and turn around and forget what they've done and flush the toilet a second later. And a little bit of water on the floor for a senior slip and fall injury is life-threatening. A broken hip, slip and fall injuries are one of the biggest reasons for seniors to end up in what they call full care or assisted living care. A senior that's perfectly mobile slips and falls, breaks a hip, and now all of a sudden they're having to have somebody care for them 24 hours a day. And the device actually came out of the death of a 90-year-old man, Mr. French, at a place in Pasadena, and Mr. French constantly overflowed his toilets 5-6 times a week, and it was common, and it's a 911 call. Everybody rushed to clean it up. And he wasn't uncommon. They would average 25 or 30 overflows a week. But Mr. French overflowed his toilet, slipped and fell, broke his hip, and within months he had passed because of complications of the surgery for the broken hip. And he's a 90-year-old man. He was perfectly capable of getting around on himself, and that was it. Now, you take university housing. This is a great story. At a university in Florida, and I won't name which one it is, they used to take the red Solo cups, the kind of beer cups we've all been to the care parties.
Sure, absolutely.
And they would take the paper towels and they would stuff them in the red cups, put them in the toilet, flush the toilet really hard a couple times, and the chain would get stuck. And they would go out to party for the night or go away for the weekend knowing that their toilet was overflowing. And they'd come back and discover, if it hadn't been discovered already, that their toilet had overflowed. Well, they would get new carpet and new furniture, and a lot of times the guy, downstairs would get it too. They wouldn't, if they were gone long enough, they would discover it because the ceiling in the downstairs dining hall would be falling in. And so that's another area. And, people that, if you don't own the toilet, it's not in your own home, and it starts to overflow, a lot of people just walk away from it. They don't even tell anybody. And for the water conservation, well, that's a no-brainer. If you're at an office building or somebody else's place, you really think about telling, you got a leaky toilet, it's costing you money.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense. And again, the green perspective on this, we know that we're on the upswing for green and water conservation products. We're in a drought, and it's another reason, why we got connected through No More Geysers, our other sponsor on the show. And between these two companies, there's like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of gallons of water that can be saved with the implementation of these devices. And I just think it's such an important thing, and it's smart. It's just a smart move. So once again, if you're out there, if you're interested in representing the product, you're actually still looking for distributors, right? So if people want to distribute this product as well as buy it, they can, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're just getting this thing launched and trying to get the word out. But every day we're getting calls from all across the country and some of the other nations too, because water is a problem not just in this country; it's a problem all over.
Great. Once again, you can check it out at the H2orb.com. That's the H2orb.com. You can find the video posted on their site, also mine, and we just distributed out on the net virally. We haven't checked the stats yet, but it's on Vidler, it's on YouTube, on HD actually. It's been uploaded on YouTube on HD. You can watch the video in HD on YouTube. Very excited about that. MetaCafe, which always distributes our videos very well, and also MySpace and Yahoo. I don't know if Daily Motion will pick us up. They're a little bit weird about my business stuff, but anyway. So let's talk a little bit about. Let's talk about your what's the mission statement behind Aqua One Technologies? Because I think it's interesting that you guys are even in this category. I mean, how the heck did you even get involved with this product?
Well, really getting into water conservation was just an excellent byproduct of it. We were looking to stop overflows, and then when we discovered that our technology could actually save water, it really, really excited us. And we went into just a tremendous, really 5 years of development, because our mission statement is to be the leader in water control technology by designing and building products that assist and improve the environment. We had looked at building a company and basically doing a lot of charity work with it, because it's kind of the way a group of us work, and we just realized that we could do tremendous amounts for water conservation. It really just incentivized us to make this orb, and knowing that the toilet's the #1 water wasting appliance in the country, bar none, we thought, wow, this is it's right in our alley. Let's see what we can do with it. So that's what really got us going, was just the fact of the types of things that we can do. Just as much as building a great business, just doing a good thing when you're building a great business, I mean, that's just the best of both worlds.
Once again, my guest, David M. Parrish, COO of Aqua One Technologies, launching the product, the H2orb water conservation device for toilets. Literally stops overflows, stops leaks, prevents damage. It's an amazing product. Check it out at theh2orb.com. This segment, this section of the show, I would love to have you back on the show so we could talk more about just entrepreneurship and working with inventors in general. But I want to end this segment because I want to push this out on the net so that there is another reference on video and on the press releases. So let's just try to put a bow on this very quickly. If you're interested in buying the product, if you've got a condo, if you've got an industrial space, and you can see the value behind this, then find these guys online. If you are just someone that goes, wow, I need that, I've actually had damage from leaking toilets, then also check it out online. David, once again, how can people reach you?
Best way to reach us is either go to the internet at theh2orb.com and send us an email, or call us toll free at 866-598-3474. We're located in Westminster, California, and in beautiful Orange County.
Beautiful, once again. And what we're going to do, just to let you know, is at the end of this video, I'm going to play the H2orb video that we just did, but you can see it in much better quality if you just go to the Vidler account, either Aqua One or Commodore Media, or just Google video H2orb, the H2orb, and it'll pop up. But it's a much better quality on YouTube and on our Vidler accounts, and you can find it online. But I'm going to play it just in case you're watching the show, if you're listening, if you catch it on iTunes, if you drop in the podcast. But this is a very important project, and it will start. It has been implemented in a couple different properties, and it's on the upswing. So once again, David, thanks for being our guest. We want you back, okay?
Hey, thanks a lot, David. Have a great night, and appreciate you inviting me.
You got it, man. Thanks.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
Once again, everybody, my guest, David M. Parrish, and that's our first volley with this product in water conservation, and I'm going to play you the video, and then we're going to be back to checking about some other things, but thanks for watching. I'm David Comatoy. Hang on. Okay, everybody, here is, let me get rid of this P&P clear. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Aqua One Technologies presents the H2orb. Toilets have two major problems: overflows and leaks. 1 of every 5 toilets leak, and there are over 1 billion toilets in the United States. That's over 6 billion gallons of water wasted every day by leaking toilets. Toilet overflows can cause an insane amount of damage if left unattended. The H2orb solves both of these problems.
The average cost of water damage due to a leak is $3,600, and it's going up.
Every toilet should have an H2orb for water conservation and for property damage.
Large ones can cost anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000, and that's just the damage repair. There's times when the toilet overflows, you get that mold remediation, the entire house has to come down. If your toilet overflows, it's like opening a hose in the middle of your house. And imagine the damage that it does. And it's true. The last thing you do before you go on vacation, before you leave, you go to the bathroom. You send the kids to the bathroom. You know, you go to the bathroom and you flush that toilet.
It is easier to sell the product to people that have had water damage. Virtually everybody that we have talked to date has had or knows of property damage from a toilet.
We heard a story. There was a guy in Lake Tahoe, and he left. He only stayed there during the summer months, and he left there, and his toilet overflowed. And he'd actually gone up there for the winter to make sure everything was shut up, like a lot of the people in Tahoe do. Last thing he did, flushed the toilet. The toilet overflowed, and it kept going on all winter long. Well, it was so cold that it kept freezing, and it didn't know till the spring. His neighbor made a phone call and said, "Look, you've got water coming out of your front door." He had 3 feet of ice built up in his condominium.
By virtue of that, either past experience or knowledge, that gives them at least the inspiration to give us a try.
The H2orb is an electronic fill valve that monitors the condition of the toilet. First off, it will stop a toilet bowl overflow. It won't let any water hit the floor. When the water level goes up, the orb senses it, shuts off the water, and allows no more water in the tank, so you can't even get water on the floor with a second flush. And it won't let water back in until you've solved the problem and the water level in the bowl has gone down. Number 2, it's a water conservation device. Toilets are the #1 water wasting appliance in the country, and that's bar none. The EPA did a study, American Water Works, the United States Navy. As a matter of fact, in the state of Hawaii, they send out water test kits every year because they say the #1 cause of high water bills are leaky toilets. Every toilet leaks, and we'll hear it in the middle of the night. You'll hear your toilet start to fill up. Well, that's a small leak. You'll hear it keep filling up, and usually you go to sleep, it doesn't bother you. When you're up in the middle of the day, it doesn't bother you because you're just thinking, oh, that's just a little bit of water. But the truth is, that little silent leak, that little leak that you keep ignoring, is going to cost you anywhere from 30 to 500 gallons per day in water losses. We're looking mostly for commercial. The truth is, there's nothing out there that stops an overflow.
As the maintenance manager in Hershey, Pennsylvania came back, he bought 10. In 1 month, prevented 40 overflows. He came back, told us about it. He saved $6,000 in 1 month, and then he ordered 100 more.
The university housing. Back in 2004, the students at a major university in Florida, they were taking the red Solo beer cups that we all know about, the keg parties. They were putting a paper towel into it. They were putting it in the toilet, and they were flushing it really, really hard a couple times, and the chain would get caught. And they knew it would get caught, and they would go out for a party that night, knowing their toilet was overflowing. They would come back, have to call maintenance. Maintenance would say, okay, we've got to give you new carpet, we have to give you new furniture. Oh, and your buddy Bob downstairs, we've got to replace his ceiling and his furniture and his carpet as well, to the tune of 20 overflows a month. The H2orb is a very technologically advanced device. It took over 5 years to develop. We had some very high-level engineering put into this. We use a Texas Instruments MSP 430 as the sort of what I call the brain of the device. The toilet does a lot more things than you realize. There's so many different ways that the toilet works, from the flush to the stuck open flappers and fill outs. We had to figure out a way to understand how the toilet worked, how the water levels change, how the time changes, to be able to program all that into the H2orb to actually make it a water conservation device, as well as one that just simply shuts off the water because of an overflow. Imagine an overflow on the 3rd or 4th floor of your building, and the water flowing floor to floor. Imagine the amount of damage and the cost, not only in dollars, but in time. The H2orb will prevent any type of water from hitting the floor and will prevent all overflows. In addition, it's a water conservation device. 5% of all the drinking water in the United States doesn't go to flushes, it goes to leaky toilets. Within a year to year and a half, just in water savings alone, the H2orb can save you the complete cost of the unit and installation.
Shh. What's that giant flushing sound? Your money going down the drain. 1 of every 5 toilets leak. How many toilets do you have? The H2orb is available right now for industrial, commercial, and residential properties, saving you water, money, and preventing damage. The water conservation power of the H2orb could help qualify for tax credits and LEED certification points. The H2orb can pay for itself in about 18 months based on the water savings or by preventing a major catastrophic water event. The H2orb is retrofit and can be installed in about 15 minutes. There is nothing on the market that compares to the H2orb. It will save water, save money, and prevent damage. For more information, questions, or to discuss opportunities, please contact Aqua One toll-free at 1-866-598-3474. That's 1-866-598-3474. And visit the-h2orb.com. That's the-h2orb.com. Entertainer, entrepreneur, email marketing master.